Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with my newest friend, Anna Khait. Welcome, Anna.
Hey, Debbie, so good to be here. God bless you,
I know,
everybody.
I literally met you 7 days ago, I think, and I feel like I've known you forever.
I know we could have kept talking for hours and hours, and our friend, mutual friend that was there, Michael, was like, I'm just gonna take a seat over there because you ladies are just talking it up. So yeah,
Exactly. So I'm excited to dig in because you said a few things and we didn't get to elaborate because there was too much to talk about. So I'm first going to introduce you and then we will go and dig right in. So Anna Kate is a public figure, entrepreneur, and dynamic creative professional with experience both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. She gained national recognition as a contestant on the hit reality TV show Survivor and has since built a versatile career in media, production, and wellness innovation. As the founder of Healthy Technologies, Anna leads a faith-based company dedicated to improving lives through advanced wellness solutions, from whole house water filtration and air public purification systems to grounding products and more. Since 2017, Anna has hosted her own podcast, technically skilled in both pre and post production. She brings a strong creative vision to every project she's involved in, combining storytelling, purpose, and impact. And there she is. So, Anna, I am so excited to dig in. Well, first of all, I always like to start from the beginning. So, where are you from? What was your background like? And then definitely we need to go into Survivor and hear about that. And then eventually we'll get to why we're here today is to learn about Healthy Technologies, the company that you've founded 6 years ago and have been just doing incredible things. And I'm such a proponent of health. There's three things I was thinking as I was taking a shower. There's three things that are super important: my family, my work in real estate, and health, and sharing health. And that's why we connected. So let's go back to the beginning of Anna.
would love to. Yeah, well, I was born in Russia. So I was born in the Soviet Union in St. Petersburg, Russia. My family brought me here when I was 4. So my mom is Russian, my dad is Jewish, and brought me to America. I was 4. I grew up in New York, Brooklyn, New York, and had a great childhood. Played a lot of sports, was really close with family, and was just studying like every normal kid does, studying, and I was studying pre-med. So I was planning, the whole goal was to become a doctor. In fact, it wasn't necessarily my goal, but we brought you from Russia, you're either going to be a lawyer or a doctor, pick one. But I fell in love with biology. I fell in love with science and physics and biochemistry and neurology. And I loved biology, and I actually wanted to teach biology. But I thought, okay, I'll become a doctor like my family wants me to. So lo and behold, as I'm in college and I'm finally graduating a major in biology, I was just about to send out my applications to medical schools when I thought about it. I thought, you know what? I always loved playing poker. It was a hobby I did since I was 17 years old. And I thought, it's been so lucrative for me as a hobby. Always go in Atlantic City, on the weekends. When I turned 21, I bought a car, and I bought a hoopty car. I mean, it was just
The
wheels
hoop
that get you from point B. And I got a car only to go play poker in Atlantic City. And within the first week, my first trip, I actually made that 2000 that I bought the car for. So long story short, poker is always very lucrative. And I thought, how about I try that for 1 year, see what happens if I can do it professionally. So my parents were not very excited about it. They were not happy. And I became a professional poker player, and I played for about 4 years full time. And I was dating a professional poker player at the time, and love his family. Was still all really, really close. And during that time, I thought, I really also wanted to be on the show Survivor. It's always been my favorite show as a kid. And I thought, let me try out. And so I did try out in 2015, and actually 2014 I tried out. In 2015 I was cast for the show, and we filmed in 2015. But that's kind of my upbringing, and my two passions was poker and Survivor, and also handball. I traveled for handball as well around the world, and was always into sports and always loved game theory as well. That's why I was so attracted to poker, not because of the gambling aspect, but because I got to challenge my mind and try to figure out people, right? Psychology, but also use skills of discernment and outwitting people and outsmarting people. And that's very similar to Survivor. So there's a reason why I love both of them. And I remember my high school sweetheart when we were together for 7 years. And I think I was like 17 or 16 or 17, but I told him, one day, honey, I want to be on the show Survivor and I want to be a professional poker player. And I remember he told me, Debbie, he said, Anna, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. And, fast forward, it was like 6 years later, I was the first female poker player on Survivor. And yeah, it was pretty amazing. But my life changed after the show.
And
Yeah.
so you were on the show and you were playing poker, and so what happened between Survivor? I mean, you could have gone off and maybe been an actress or did something like that, and you didn't go on to become a doctor. So what pivoted, and why did you stop poker, and how did you end up where you ended up?
That's a great question. After Survivor and after it was on air, I got a lot of inquiries and requests to do different shows. And one of them was on MTV, True Life, I'm a professional gambler, But even though I didn't
Your
consider
mother,
poker as
your mother must have just been dying. Like I was supposed to have.
Yeah. And so at that time, though, when this show actually aired in February of 2016, I already was moving away from poker. I already, when I got back from filming the show, it was life changing. It was an amazing experience. By the way, I want to preface this and say Survivor's real. I mean, it is reality TV. I think it's one of the first reality shows that ever hit television, early 2000. But it's real. There's no crafts food tables. You are starving out there. You're fighting for survival. Not really in the physical sense as much as in the people skill sense. It's a psychology game more than anything. Sure, you do have to win food, and if you don't win food, you're starving all day, which is true. You're hungry all night, all day, all night. You go to bed, your stomach is like, making noises, and then you're eaten up by mosquitoes all night long. It was fun though. I really enjoyed it. And
Sounds terrible.
yeah, I remember one morning I actually got off the bed, which our bed was like made of bamboo. This like makeshift bed that we made. It was in the middle of, the outdoors. But we don't have any blankets. We had each other. So we would huddle up together, spooning side by side by side to have heat and have warmth. So, we didn't have toothpaste. We didn't have toothpaste. We brushed our teeth with, take a guess, Debbie. Do you know what we brushed our teeth with?
Reeds.
I did ask you, actually. You said reeds at first, and then you said sand when I asked you. That's a few days ago.
Oh,
For last week. Yeah, it's sand. We washed our teeth with sand and we would spit it out. We would take a bath or take a shower in the ocean, right in the salt water ocean. So it really wasn't, glamping. It was legitimately camping and surviving, but it was an amazing experience. So when I got back home, I weirdly enough, just one morning woke up and I didn't want to play poker anymore. And I really didn't even care that I was on the show, even though my show was about to air. I was over it. So it was just weird. And I was just thinking, what do I do with my life? This is something I really wanted to do. And I did it. Now what? Now when you like attain that thing that you always wanted, it's like there's some satisfaction, but there's still something that's missing. There's still something that, and I think that's always with success. You're always striving for something, but you get there and there's some satisfaction, but not fully. People say, I want to be a millionaire. And then become a millionaire, I want to be a billionaire. When you become a billionaire, I want to be a trillionaire. And it's this yearning in our soul that there's something missing. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll go to medical school. I guess I'll go be a doctor that my parents wanted me to be. I mean, first of all, they were so happy to hear that. But instead of going to medical school, I really thought about it and I really felt led. You can do science in another way. Like I can still study. I just don't have to be there writing prescriptions to people and, being a doctor in that way, I was thinking about, okay, if I'm in the emergency room, my she's a PA and so she's in the emergency room and she loves it. But do I want to be stuck somewhere? Being a physician is an amazing, amazing career. But do I want to be somewhere where I have to be the 3 a.m. and then it just takes up my whole life? Studying is going to take up 8 years of my life, plus then in the hospital. And I thought, there's got to be another way I can do science, but help people, but not have to go through this entire process. And so at that time, funny enough, Debbie, I did some real estate in New York for like 2 years. I wanted to learn about investing in real estate. And I thought, what better way than become a real estate agent? And I'm like, ooh, God bless real estate agents. It is not easy. I know I could have done it, but it wasn't my passion
Right.
to sell real estate. It was really my passion to learn more about science and learn more about the human body and really go back to nature and go back to ways that our body can heal themselves, that God created an amazing body, an immune system, and how we can help that immune system and help our natural bodies heal itself. And so I just started doing research and digging and digging and digging. And I researched it was what's in our air, what's in our water, what's in our food, what do we have in our home with our babies and our little fur babies? You know, what chemicals do we have under our kitchen counter? What chemicals do we have in our laundry room? And I thought, my God, the more research, the more I dug into what we actually have been kind of programmed to have at home as being normal, you know, Clorox and all these different chemicals and bleach in our home and breathing it in. And everyone has cancer now. I mean, it was like 1 in 4 people know someone with cancer. And it's astounding how much not only cancer in adults, but also cancer in children. And not only that, but also cancer in animals. And I thought there's gotta be a way that we can get together some healthy technologies that will really help benefit humanity. So I started researching. The first one was air. You know, I want to find the best air filter, not even an air filter, but a sanitizer that hospitals are using, that the military has been using. I want to get that into residential homes. And sure enough, I met someone who told me about this Air and Surface Pro. So I, you know, did more research on it, and it's in the best hospitals in the world. It's in the Cleveland Clinic. That's what they use in their operating rooms. That's what the military's been using for decades. And you know, from there, okay, well, what is the best water filter? And I researched that for 9 months and couldn't find anything. No company was transparent. Every company said, oh, it's proprietary. What our filters are made of, I can't tell you. I said, that's not going to work for me. I need to know what the filters are made of, what you remove, what you don't remove, and if you have any independent testing. So the more I started researching, the more I realized there's a lot of like garbage out there that doesn't really do anything. And
Right.
you know, the companies make all the money on replacements and replacements and replacements. So it's cheap at the get-go. It's cheaper, inexpensive at the get-go, but then the replacements are really expensive. You got to change it every month or 2 or 3 months. Well, if it was really good, I don't mind replacing it. But if it's not that effective, I don't want to quote unquote save money, but also hurt my health. So
Right.
that was where Healthy Technologies was born 6 years ago. And during COVID, actually right about COVID, about almost 6 years ago, 5 years ago. So, and it's been an amazing journey ever since. We've helped a lot of people.
It's incredible. I mean, I after I met with you, I just went down a whole rabbit hole, and I'm so excited to come with you to meet the rest of your team on Saturday. But so where how did you start to? I mean, I believe you have contacts throughout the country. So how did you start? Like, what was your first product? What are your favorite 3 products? And then we can go into more products. But um, I think,
Yeah.
well, you tell me top 3. I already know my top 3. I started creating, but tell me, yeah, was it your science background or that got you that pointed you this direction? And did you know a lot about it because of your science, or was it just in the research? It just was an interest, and you just kind of started researching it and went with it.
It was definitely my science background, my biology background that I thought there, you know, how you know, this world has survived for so many millions of years, right? We have this beautiful world we live in, this beautiful nature that we live in. You know, humans are here, we have beautiful animals around. You know, there's power in nature. How do we bring that power into the home? You know, the God who created everything, he created our bodies, he created nature. How is it so beautiful? How come we're so sick? There's something wrong. There's a disconnect here. And so but the science background really helped me while I was doing research. And it started with the air sanitizer, right? The air filter slash sanitizer. And I had a friend of mine who told me, you need to get this air filter. It's COVID. This thing releases molecular hydrogen peroxide. It sanitizes and kills COVID. It kills RNA viruses, DNA viruses, you know, gram-positive bacteria, gram-negative bacteria, mold spores, and things like that. And, you know, we can't say 100% FDA, you know,
Right.
99.99999% effective, but it denatures the living, you know, cellular organism, you know, bacteria. viruses. So actually, virus is not it's not technically a living thing. It's just full of information. But a bacteria is very much a living thing. Now, so started with the air filter, and I got it from my home at that time. I told you the story. I had 3 cats at the time. I was in a little
Right.
apartment in Florida. We just moved to Florida, and I have 3 rescue cats in my home. Always had 1 or 2, but had 3 at the time, and had 2 big litter boxes. And I had friends come over, and they said, "Anna, I am extremely allergic to animals, especially cats. You have 3 cats walking around, 2 litter boxes. I don't smell a thing. I don't smell any odor, and I'm not sneezing and coughing. What's happening here? What are you doing differently?" And I looked at that air filter and I realized, oh, it's really working. This is not even kidding, about a week of having it. I didn't really notice the difference because you're used to the odors of your animals, you're used to the odor in your home, but I did notice that I wasn't coughing and sneezing as much. I thought sneezing and coughing is normal and that's how it is in your home. That is not normal. If you are constantly coughing, that is not normal. It might be that, God forbid, you have lung cancer or something like that, but that's the super extreme. But if you don't have lung cancer and you don't have COPD or any kind of issues with your lungs, you should not be coughing on the daily. You notice it when you go outside and you're breathing fresh air and you're going on a nice hike. You are not coughing and sneezing all the time. You might a little bit with pollen, sure, you might sneeze, but you're not constantly coughing. So I realized there's something in that this unit is doing, which is actually mimicking nature. It's actually releasing the same ionization that trees release, that the oceans release, right? You have ions that are released that are going to bind to the pollen and the cat hair and the dog hair. And I noticed all the dust particles in my home. When that ray of sunlight goes through your window, you see all the dusties flying around, and that was gone. That I noticed right away. The coughing I noticed cease right away. And I thought, interesting. But the odor was what I didn't even notice. So my friends pointed it out, and their allergy, they didn't have any. I said, interesting. So also another, coincidence, but not a coincidence. Funny enough, a few days later, my mom told me that my sister's having severe asthma. And again, this was during COVID. She's having severe asthma outbreak, and then she's using her inhaler, Debbie, 16 times a day.
It's
I
horrific.
thought there's no way. There must be a language barrier here. My mom did not understand my sister. There's no way. I've never heard anyone use it like 3, 4 times a day. Probably normal, but 16. So I called my sister, and she's again a PA in a massive hospital in Washington, and she said, "No, Anna, it's really bad. I'm really nervous, especially with COVID. I'm really nervous to get COVID. This is already really bad." I said, "Let me send you." I just ordered just a bunch of air filters to start telling people about it. And my friend said, "Do it as a business. You're gonna help them get healthy, and you're gonna be able to support what you're doing, support rent and things like that and food. But you're gonna continue helping people and make it as a business." And I thought, I don't know anything about business. I don't sell anything. I'm just. I mean, I did real estate where you're selling properties, but I was mostly researching more than selling, and learning. But but I thought, okay, well, I didn't know you can do this as a business. So I started ordering packs of it to my home. And that was the week that my sister found out about my sister. I sent her one. She calls me, Debbie, the next morning. She said, "Anna, what is this?" I slept all night long. I did
That's
not use
incredible.
my, isn't that crazy? I did not use my inhaler once throughout the night. Normally she's waking up having to use her inhaler. She had her dog that she's had for a few years and her brand new kitten that they saved. She's been pushing them, and they've been living in the basement, away from the
Oh,
kids, away from family, because she's so allergic. She said, "I have to get rid of them." And I told her, "Well, first of all, I'll take them. Don't get rid of them. Don't bring them to the shelter. I will take them. But number two, I don't think you're going to need it. You need to do that. Let me send you the filter." So I did. So she was astounded. I told her about the technology. It's pulling in oxygen and water through it, making ions bind to the pollen and the dust and the cat hair, dog hair, cleaning it out. If you don't have a filter, you are the filter, right? If you don't
mm,
have a filter, you become the filter. So you need something. And there's a lot of brands out there. There's a lot of, a lot of it are old school passive technology, the HEPA filters and the air doctors and all that. And God bless them. They do a little bit. But if you want something very effective, ionization is the best because it's on offense, not defense, right? There's no air filter inside. It's a filter-less system. It's on offense. It's attacking the dust and the pollen. And on number two, it's also sanitizing the environment. So long story short, I'll fast forward this 6 months later. She called me, Debbie, and she goes, "You're never going to believe it." I go, "What?" She goes, "My cat is sleeping on my bed." I said,
oh,
there's no way. She goes, "Yeah." And the crazy thing is the air sanitizer is downstairs. and she's living upstairs with the family. They all share one big bed, her and her 4 kids, in the and it's a loft. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful log cabin, and it's like a loft. So she has it all the way downstairs, and it's still affecting her up there. So it covers 2,000 square feet. We have larger units as well, but it started with the air filter. But fast forward to my three favorite products, I would definitely say the
Yeah,
air.
wait, let me stop there. So I think what happened, so during COVID, we learned that okay, you've got to get a filter, you've got to get a filter, an air filter, whatever. So my office manager said, get this one or whatever. And I believe, I mean, it's doing nothing. And then we also had a lot of fires in California, right? So our houses we weren't even near the fires, but the air quality was horrific. Orange skies, and we weren't even in probably 2 hours of the fire, but it was so horrific. And so we got one, a small one, but I think what people don't understand, why would they? Like, there's so many on the market, and
Yeah.
they're drawing in with a filter, but they're not doing what you're saying, the ionizer and doing all these other things. So um, I think that is just so important. People need to know. I mean, I can't wait to get mine tomorrow from you. I'm using it right now in my LA home. I actually do. It does, something seems different. I can't identify, but it does seem different. And because we have two little kitties at home and we do have dust, I cannot wait. And the telltale sign will be when my housekeeper comes in because she's like, your house is so dusty. I go, I don't know. Like, I mean, we do keep the windows open so the kitties can go outside on the roof, but I can't wait to try it. I just think it's going to
Yeah.
be, hearing the story about your sister is just
It,
incredible.
it's literally life changing. I mean, I never understood. I mean, look, we take on average 18,000 breaths a day. 18,000. And when we're outside, we're not coughing and sneezing as much. Why? Because actually nature releases ions, right? It's naturally ionized. And if you're by the ocean, you're so rested, you feel so well. Well, the ocean releases negative ions. They help your mood, right? They help you relax. It lowers your cortisol level. And it also, you're not breathing in all this dust. You're breathing in this beautiful fresh air. So it's bringing the power of nature into the home. And the unit is eco-friendly. It's using as much electricity as a light bulb, 60 watts. You don't even hear it. It's barely taking any electricity, but you feel the effects of it. And you notice there's something different. That's what I noticed. I was like, there's something different here. And then when I would hear that, oh, Anna, it doesn't smell at all in your home. Normally it does. It's like you have kitties everywhere and litter box and pee everywhere. But even if there was urine, what happens is that hydrogen peroxide, that molecular hydrogen peroxide will actually break down the urea and break down bacteria and viruses and mold, and it'll sanitize it. So not only are you filtering your air, you're actually also sanitizing air, but not just your air, your surfaces. So it's constantly sanitizing. Again, the unit is releasing about 1,200 feet per second these ions and these molecular hydrogen molecules. So it's sanitizing and scrubbing your air, your walls, your floors, your carpets constantly. If you have people coming over, or if you know someone is sick, turn it on. Make sure that it's on. In fact, there's like a double setting. You can turn on some more hydrogen peroxide to really sanitize the air. You don't smell the hydrogen peroxide. It's safe for humans, safe for animals, perfect during holidays, perfect when you have people coming over, perfect during COVID. But I tell people there's always something. There's always bird flu, or there's COVID, or there's swine flu. Have an air filter that not just filters, but sanitizes your environment. Have it on in your home. It is life changing. You don't have to worry about things, and your environment changes. And I want to tell you too, real estate agents. I mean, you're one of the top real estate agents in the nation, and it's an honor to meet you and to be on your podcast. But also, real estate agents, this is a need. This is something you need for open homes when you do open showings. If you have a home you're struggling to sell, a lot of times sometimes it's location, but sometimes it's mildew, mold, force air circulation in the house that you need to.
Always paint. Always smell the paint because of course when we're getting the home ready we're usually painting the inside and out, and that's always, so we do always have to say, well, the home was just painted and the doors are closed because no one's living here, so that's why there's a smell. But it would be best not to have that conversation. It would be best for them never to experience that, or for us to have to you know share that
Yeah.
information. They should just come in and feel good. So you're right.
Imagine,
That
yeah,
to my
imagine not. Sorry to interrupt. No, imagine not having to say that. Imagine they come in and they're like, wow. There was a home that I was going to buy years ago, and it was such a beautiful property. I told you the story. It's such a beautiful property. It's on the water. I mean, the river, the creek there, it just, oh, it was beautiful on picture. And when I was walking up to the home, I can hear the sound of the river and the little creek. I should say it's a creek. Beautiful. And I thought, oh my God, how is this on market for almost a year and a half? There's something. I told my friends, I said, it's definitely the air quality in the home, 100%. We walk in. Sure enough, it is so mildewy. It's stagnant air stuck. It's an older home. It's beautiful, but there's no air circulation. So you come in and you feel so congested. You feel like it's so hard to breathe in there. And you think, I can't live in this space. And all they had to do really, and not only for the real estate agent to mask it, but also circulate the air, the property needs that air filter. It needs it. It's going to make the living circumstance so much better. Obviously, the real estate agent will sell the home in a heartbeat, but also, it'll help the circulation for the home, for the future. So it's a need for sure to have a good filter, and not just real estate agents, but every residential home should have one for sure.
Absolutely. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. I see my producer going 20 seconds, 20 seconds. So we'll be right back with Anna Khait. Thank you.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here with Anna Khait of Healthy Technologies, healthytex.com. So we were just talking about would you call it an ionizer filter, or what's the proper name?
Yeah, I would say an air sanitizer and ionizer.
Perfect. All right, now we're going to go on to your next favorite product, but let's skip over and go. I mean, there's so many products, but let's go to the bed. I want you to tell us about the grounding bed. I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah, grounding and earthing, I've heard about it, 10, 15 years ago, and I honestly thought it was a bunch of nonsense. I thought, yeah, what does grounding really do? Hugging a tree, I'm not one of those, But the more I researched, the more I realized, actually, it's a real thing. And God created grounding. This is a natural earthly technology. Just like ionization is a natural technology that nature releases, grounding is also something very natural and has a lot of health benefits for the human body. Right? It lowers cortisol level. It relaxes you. It increases circulation in your body. Right? So it also detoxifies you. It's antioxidant. Right? So it's anti-inflammatory. It also relaxes muscles. Why? Because it also blocks EMFs, electromagnetic fields. So we're constantly bombarded with frequencies all day, right? You have your cell phone next to you, your TV next to you, your computer, even your outlet, even if you don't have anything plugged into your electrical outlet, it is releasing electromagnetic field. In fact, I've tested this many times, and you can, if you have like a little electric meter, or if you have a frequency meter and you come close to the outlet, you'll start hearing a bzzz. You don't hear it in the natural ear, but when you have a device to test it, you will see your outlets are constantly radiating, releasing electricity, even if you don't have anything plugged in. So imagine now your cell phone plugged in, your computer plugged in, your TV that you're watching, 4G, 5G, we're surrounded with it. But we were not created to hold all of these artificial frequencies in our body. And these artificial frequencies are actually positively charged. And our body loves more of the negative charge. In fact, that's the inside cell of our cell membrane. It's negatively charged. So if you have too much positive, it will actually lead to more inflammation as well. So your body wants to recharge, just like your cell phone needs to be charged every night. Our body needs to be recharged and relaxed and release these positive ions. And the way that you do it, to benefit the body, on average, 3 hours a day, touching nature, having your feet barefoot outside, maybe getting your mailbox, going to your mailbox and grabbing your mail barefoot is a great way to be grounding, or, going camping. But some people don't have time to camp all the time. I don't have 3 hours a day to get all the benefits from grounding, to be barefoot outside. I mean, I have things to do. You're working. I mean, you're a go-getter. You're always, doing something. And we're wearing rubber shoes, and rubber stops that grounding benefit from going into our body. So there's things called grounding mats you can, put your feet on and you can sit on. But the problem is a lot of them are plastic, and a lot of the companies I tested didn't actually work when I used it with my grounding meter. And so what I tell people, you don't want to sleep on plastic, right? You're going to sweat all night. So we have an amazing technology. It's the only grounding mattress in the world. It's actually made in Italy. High quality. And there's a mattress. There's also a topper. If you already have a mattress you love, you can put a grounding topper on your mattress. And what that does is it's connected to that grounding port in your, when you have your electricity, or the two prong, but there's a third prong. It's a circular one. This is the grounding port. It's a circular one. So you plug it in, and there's actually in your home, or even if you're in an apartment building, there's a copper rod that goes right into the ground. And this metal copper will allow the grounding, healing energy go from the ground into your outlets, and you can tap into it and you can actually sleep on it. So instead of having just 3 hours of grounding a day that, again, we don't really have, you're going to get 7, 8, 9 hours of grounding benefit as you're sleeping on your bed. And you can have sheets on, you can have your pajamas on, and you don't have to be naked on plastic. You can wear sheets because there's so much silver in the grounding products. And the silver, by the way, is antimicrobial. So bacteria won't grow, mold won't grow. One of the biggest things when it comes to health as well, people don't realize you're actually supposed to change your mattress every 5 to 7 years. Why? Because you're sweating in it, mold is growing, bacteria is growing. Some people have a morning cough, and they're not even smokers. A lot of the times it's actually the bacteria and the mold that is in your pillow, that is on your mattress. So, you're laying on a pillow, you're drooling. It's a beautiful, moisture-rich area for mold to grow. And especially if you're sleeping on memory foam or latex foam that is closed cell, it's not breathable. So you sweat even more. You're extra hot. And again, those bacteria and mold love to grow. So that's why it's recommended to change your mattress every 5 to 7 years. But you actually, if you get a new mattress with a grounding mattress, you won't ever have to change it again, because it's so full of silver. And not just the cover, but also the core of the mattress is all embedded with silver ions. But you can also, again, get a topper. So again, you're getting healing benefits from the earth every second. In fact, there's a video on our website, healthytext.com. Dr. Conover, Dr. Laura Conover, she goes over clinically all the benefits you get from grounding, even touching grounding for 1 second. What happens in the body for 1 minute, for 1 hour, and then also compounding the grounding benefits to your body. And I have to tell you, last thing I'll say is this, Debbie. I mean, when I first slept on it, and again, I thought it was a bunch of nonsense, but I researched and I thought maybe this is something. So when I slept on it, I woke up the next morning and it was like literally sleeping on the beach. Have you ever taken a nap on the beach? It's deep, deep REM sleep.
I didn't really think about that, but it is deep. When you fall asleep on the beach, you do fall hard.
Fall hard. And you wake up and you're like, where am I? And you get into this deep REM sleep. Why? Again, the ocean releases negative ions, which, by the way, grounding are actually negative ions or negative electrons, right? But also the sand is grounding. So if you're barefoot on the ground, so you're sleeping on it and you deep sleep. So I woke up and I was like, where am I? I felt super rejuvenated, a lot of energy. And and I felt really rested. And I've never really felt rested. And that, again, even if my alarm clock says 8 hours, I slept 8 hours, I was always so tired. Why?
Mhm.
Because when you wake up, when you're, and reasons why you wake up, you're uncomfortable, you're hot. When you wake up, it breaks REM sleep. So your natural sleep cycle is constantly being disturbed. So even if you slept 8 hours, you didn't really sleep those 8 hours because you kept breaking REM sleep. So that's one of my absolute favorite technologies, and one of the most, my gosh, life transforming is getting really good night sleep and being so productive the next day.
I mean, it's so important for health regeneration and healing. And I mean, health sleep is like so important. So you really felt it the first night?
Yeah, actually, in fact, the first 5 nights, I had a really, really deep dream. And I
Wow.
would dream once in a while, but it was a deep dream. And in fact, it wasn't just me. It was actually a bunch of people that reached out to me. One of my good friends too. I called him like, you need to get a mattress ASAP. It was the second person I got it. He goes, Anna, I didn't want to tell you, but first 5 nights I had a deep dream. I go, I know, me too. And then someone else said that. And I was like, this is crazy. So you get really, really deep sleep. And if you're a dreamer or you want to dream, don't be surprised if you're going to have deep dreams. I mean, your brain is so rested, so relaxed. You can really tap into, I mean, your subconscious, and get dreams. I mean, from beautiful dreams from God. So yeah, it was an amazing life change.
All right. What's your next favorite product?
My next favorite product for sure, top three: air, sleep, grounding sleep, and water.
Okay.
Water is probably, it's hard to say what's number one, air or water or food, but water is critical. That's going into your body.
Mhm.
So, unfortunately, I mean, I can go into the statistics and all the information, but I'm sure your audience already knows and is aware, our water is heavily contaminated, right? With carcinogens and chemicals such as chlorine. I'll use chlorine as an example. The city is trying to make good water, but is not doing the best job, right? And unfortunately, they tell us the reason why they put things like chlorine in the water is to help us, because chlorine kills bacteria that's in the water. If you're living in Florida, there's a lot of humidity, there's a lot of bacteria in the water, so they put extra chlorine in the water. That's why actually Florida is considered number two worst country, worst water in the state in the country. So they're number two. Funny enough, Texas is interestingly number one with the worst water in the country. But it's not just Florida and Texas; it's every single city in the nation. And the reason again is because they want to kill bacteria. Well, it's killing bacteria, but it's also a carcinogen. So you don't want to drink it. You don't want to bathe in it. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. So whether, you don't have to be drinking something for it to go into your bloodstream. I mean, even 12 seconds of chlorine on your skin, it will be absorbed through your pores. So you're bathing in it. You're bathing in fluoride, chlorine, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, right? Pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate that's in the water. We have so much nasty stuff in the water. I mean, California in December of 2023, they announced we're going to start using sewage water for our bathing and shower, our water that we're going to use in the home. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of cities have been doing that for a long time, because if you're finding pharmaceuticals in the water and Plan B in the water, that's sewage water right there. That's a really good sign you have sewage water and not groundwater, right? Because people urinate obviously in the toilet, and that stuff does not get filtered out by the city. It just gets recycled. They take out the macro things, the bigger objects, but they don't get rid of the tiny one like urea and things like that. So a lot of times you're bathing in pee pee poo poo water. And so you 100% want to get a filter. Your hair, something I noticed too, is my skin, my hair is less dry because I get the chlorine out of the water. I'm bathing in beautiful water. The fluoride is out of my water as well. So when I'm brushing my teeth, I don't have to worry that I'm using fluoride water. My hair feels better. My skin feels better. My skin is not as dry. I mean, women, especially women, we love our hands. We don't want our neck to be dry, our face to be dry, right? We want it to be moisturized. So I would always have to put coconut oil. Now I come out and my skin is so hydrated, and there's no toxins on my skin. And I'll put a little coconut oil, a little bit of castor oil on my face, but my hands I don't have to use as much moisturizer as I used to. And especially as women, we care about our hands.
Is this so? How big is this? Can someone who already they're not building a new home. It's just someone you can put it in your existing home. And where does it go? Give us a description so people have a visual of how they can use this hydrogen water to bathe in it.
Yeah, so great question. So there's two options. If you're living in a house, we have a whole house water filter. So all of the water that is coming into your home from the city will be filtered. And so that means your showers, your baths. You don't need shower filters. You don't need those little bath balls that are so tiny. It's very little bit of amount of carbon that you get rid of only a little bit from the bath. But now your whole house is filtered. All of your sinks will be filtered. In fact, your appliances will live longer. Your washing machine, your laundry machine will live longer when you get rid of contaminants, but also your health. So there's a whole house filter. We also have options if you're in an apartment, right? If you are renting as well, you can get a shower filter. We have a 5-stage shower filter, the best one on the market. I'm not just saying that. Because by the way, I research and find the healthiest. So if there's something better, that'll go in our portfolio. But we also have an under sink filter too. We get rid of 100% fluoride, 100% forever chemicals, 100% chlorine, and it's not reverse osmosis. In fact, I don't recommend reverse osmosis. If you study what reverse osmosis creates, it makes very acidic water that have no minerals. So acidic water, cancer loves, inflammation, at least inflammation and all that kind of stuff. So do more research on RO. But we have a brand new technology released a year ago. Phenomenal. But you have options. You have options where you live.
That's incredible. So what's another favorite product?
Another favorite product that we talked about, Debbie, one of my favorites, it's more of like a luxury item, even though it really is important to have if you have the means to have it, is the all-in-one clean machine.
Okay.
It is amazing. It's a high temperature dry steam that comes out of it, but it's also a high powered vacuum. So it's a steamer, which will sanitize all of your whole home. In fact, there's 16 attachments it comes with. So you can sanitize and steam your carpets, your furniture, your stainless steel appliances, your hardwood floors. In fact, high temperature dry steam is safe on hardwood. It won't damage your hardwood. It won't damage the staining that you have on your wood as well. It won't harm it, but it's the most effective way to clean and sanitize your home. No chemicals needed. I don't have any kind of chemicals in my home. I haven't had to buy chemicals in like 6 years, almost 6 years. Even my lawn, we also have a system in our portfolio. You don't need detergent or chemicals to do your laundry anymore. It's called the Laundry Pure. Amazing.
Can you, is it good for commercial too? Can you use
Yes.
it?
We have two options. Yeah, we have an all-in-one clean machine for the home. And then we also have something called the Pro Series 360. That is the professional version if you're in a commercial space. So that is a larger tank. Yeah. And if you're also as a real estate agent, you want to make sure the home is clean. You don't want to use Febreze and chemicals when they come over and they're coughing and they're sneezing and they smell all these chemicals. You want to steam and clean odors. You want to also have the air filter that's sanitizing and cleaning. And then, if you have a stain or a wine stain or a coffee stain, steam it and then vacuum it. And it's one of the best investments you're going to make in your home and also in your family's health. Because
Right.
now when your babies are walking around, or crawling around the floor, it's not full of chemicals and Clorox and they're licking their hands, or your doggies or kitties are licking their
Right.
paws and having all those carcinogens they're taking in. You're not going to have that problem.
That's incredible. No, and I think too, it's really good for commercial people. That's such an edge for them to have something that is so healthy. I mean, we have to with the way the environment is. All right. Well,
And actually, I want to say one thing really quickly. One of my goals is I want to actually have a, kind of like Stanley steamer, Stanley steam, but they only steam carpets. But I want to have a healthy steamer cleaning group that go out and we don't use any chemicals at all. I mean, if you're doing this as a business, it will make you stand out. If you're already cleaning, imagine telling your customers, by the way, I don't use any chemicals. Chemicals are not effective against mold and oil. You'll be scrubbing there all day. And on top of that, you have all these volatile organic compounds that they release. Now you're breathing in, hurting your health, but also your customers. Imagine steaming and cleaning effectively with no odors left over, all healthy, and it's breaking the oil down. It's breaking, stains out and the grime out of the tiles. Imagine coming home and and the customer's like, "How did you get the dirt out of my tiles and the grout?" Well, steamer will do it.
Yeah, usually you have to hire someone separately to do that. Usually there's a grout person who has to do that. So it's incredible. So I want to flip over to my, health and wellness that I love so much. I have gone a number of times to enjoy the infrared. And so I asked you, do you guys have an infrared product? So share with us the wonderful benefits of infrared and what your product is.
Yes, we are adding infrared on our website by the beginning of next week. So stay tuned. It's been in the portfolio, it just hasn't been on the website yet. In fact, the owner, he's an amazing guy, Tom. He was actually the one that invented blue light therapy,
Wow.
specifically blue light for dentists. That solidified the filling. This was like 20 years ago. He was the one that invented the blue light for dentists, and he never really was looking into red light until 15 years ago. Someone said, well, do you have a red light? We've seen benefits. It helps activate some of this cancer medicine that we're giving patients, and it's activated with red light. And he thought, really interesting. So he started researching it and created a powerful red light. And it's an LED red light. And he has a patent on there's a fan on it as well, so you don't get overheated. And so and we did a show together, and it's going to be on the website, where he explained the difference on things that you might buy on Amazon. If you take like a white piece of paper, and you'll see where the circles are with the red light, that's where it's going to show on the paper. So you're not hitting all of that area that you think you are. And it's not powerful enough to really go through the subdermal layer of your skin and go through the joints and go through the bones, right? And help, the cells that are growing. And the benefits of red light, just like plants, right? Plants need light. Why? Because that's their source of energy. Because electrons that are being, well, I should say, the energy, which are electrons, they're going to activate the plants. So, and that's their food. So they use chlorophyll to be able to get those electrons, and it's used on the electron transport chain to create energy. Humans, we have food as energy, or break down food, but we also have to create energy. And the way that we create energy through using food, we also use an electron transport chain in mitochondria. So the mitochondria is going to be the one, which is its own little factory. It actually has its own DNA, and it's going to be taking up the beautiful red light, and that high energy light, which light is energy, it's going to activate these electron transport proteins, or proteins in electron transport chains. So they activate them, and it starts to, go from one protein to another. That creates kinetic energy and basically creates energy at the end, called ATP. So we need food, right? But light also really helps us release and create more energy. So red light, when you're shining at a certain location, whether it be your hip or your knee or your face, what it's doing, it's actually helping those cells in that area, whether it be your elbow, you have some elbow pain, it's going to allow those cells to create more energy. And that energy helps them work and function. So they're going to be able to, replicate better. We have adult stem cells. We have adult stem cells when it comes to skin, when it comes to hair, when it comes to our brain, right? We have adult stem cells. So when you help them with light and activate them more and they replicate more, they're able to, grow faster and heal faster. So we've had people with like really bad burn, really bad third-degree burn, where normally they just have scars forever, and it's red and it's scarry forever. We had someone who was using the red light within not even a month, it was a little less than a month. Their redness was gone, their scarring was gone, and they were shining it on that wound for 20 minutes a day. So that's what red light does. It accentuates and helps heal the body faster.
Yeah, it's incredible. I guess I've heard it helps with IVF, and it helps with like inflammation and the scarring and diet and fitness and just so many things. And it feels so good. I love it. So, okay, we only have a few minutes left. Tell us what you would share with your 20 or 25-year-old self now that you've been through everything you've been through, and how successful you are today. What would you say to your 20 or 25-year-old self?
I would tell myself, don't stress, don't worry, just follow your gut and keep seeking and learning more, keep educating yourself. If I was really, my 20-year-old was playing poker, I would say, girl, that's not going to get you anywhere. It's good for the moment. You make some money, but it's not very effective in the long run. Don't waste time. So I would tell myself, don't waste time. Don't stress out. Study, learn as much as you can. And God will show you a way to help people, because my heart was always to help people. And I know your heart is to help people. And, people that are watching, we want to help humanity. We don't want to just live a selfish life, me, and enjoy ourselves. We want to help people. And one of the best ways you can help people is by educating yourself
Mhm.
and being contented and satisfied with who you are, and helping others as well. So I think real success, because we're mastering the art of success, one of the keys to being successful is to be successful in your own self, to have such a peace and contentment in your own life that you feel contented, that no matter what level you attain or don't attain, you're contented in. Doesn't mean you're lazy, but that you have a
Right.
peace to enjoy the process and enjoy getting success. But number one, success is inside.
I love that is so true. Well, this was incredible. How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find us on healthytext.com. And I forgot to mention, I want to say this, you can use coupon code Debbie, DEBBI, to get exclusive savings and free shipping on our healthy technology, especially for Christmas, you guys. The best kind of gifts you can give people are healthy products and technologies that will really change their life. You know, someone with asthma, air filter
Mhm.
is the best you can get them. We have like little mini molecular hydrogen units you can take with you. We've had so many success stories with just that little unit for Christmas is amazing. But use coupon code Debbie to get some extra savings and some extra things in your stockings that you want, for your family and
I
friends.
love it. Thank you so much, Anna. This was incredible. I could talk for hours on health and wellness, and I am just so excited to buy a few more products to add them to
Yeah.
inventory. Well, thank you so much. And that's it with Anna Khait of Healthy Techs.
Bye everyone. Bye Debbie. Thank you.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbie DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.